Well, it's 6:54 in the morning. This is Dr. Chris Landon, Get Moving TV. Serve as your host. We're off to the American Visionary Art Museum. We've been moving here to the American Visionary Art Museum here in Baltimore, Maryland. It's along the Key Highway here. Magical mirrored bus, and we're about to see quite a bit of art that's from the heart and the mind. From some of these people are just a little bit crazy. So it's time for us to get moving. Born in 1931, worked on a tobacco farm and as a projectionist at his stepfather's movie theater. When his nerves went bust in 1968, he stayed at home on the farm to care for his mother until she died in 1974. After her death, Jennings supported himself by collecting and recycling car cans found along busy highways, supplemented by a small inheritance. He began to make whirligigs, windmills, signs, and figures, eventually filling his yards. His artwork received attention in 1976, and he's been featured in several major exhibitions. Jennings lives alone without electricity or running water. I'm here with Falin Shields at the American Visionary Art Museum. We are focused on one of her favorite pieces here. Falin, tell me about this piece. Tell me what you like about it.
Well, this is Icarus. This is a Greek mythical story of a young boy who he and his father were trying to escape an evil king. And the king was chasing him and his father, and to get rid of his father, because his father built a tabernacle which no one could escape. And the king, who once he murdered someone, was asked Icarus' father to create this tabernacle for him so that, the person who he had murdered could be hidden. In the meantime, the king was also plotting to kill Icarus. And once the father found out the plot, he built Icarus some wings to escape. The wings were built out of wax and feathers. Icarus' father warned Icarus not to fly too close to the sun, or else he would plummet to the ocean, in which Icarus, in all of his excitement, forgot what his father said, flew too close to the sun, and plummeted to his death into Oceanus. So this is one of my favorite stories as far as Greek mythology, as well as the fact that Icarus himself, at high noon, when the sun beams on his wings, create a beautiful disco-like effect as he turns and twirls. And it's just gorgeous in here at high noon. Currently our dome is under construction, but normally at high noon it's just a glorious sight to see.
Oh, Falin, thank you so much. And what brought you to working here? Obviously you enjoy what you do.
Yes, actually I had a friend named Troy Wilson who told me about this museum. I love art, but I never knew of a place where artists could express themselves who were normal people, not the high-class people, but the normal person, the everyday person who had dreams and visions and things of that sort. And when he told me about it, I said, well, let me go check it out. And when I applied, I began working here, and I fell in love with it. Each year we changed the theme, and it's a beautiful thing each year.
Well, let's go upstairs and see another one of your favorite pieces.
Indeed.
I'm back here with Falin at her favorite piece. So tell me a little bit about the piece. What is it about that really attracts you?
I love Gerald Hawks. The entitlement of this is Holy Fire. And what drew me to it was, first of all, the name. The fact that he uses matchsticks. I mean, something that we all used to get in trouble for playing with. I don't know anyone who didn't get in trouble for playing with matches. So it just intrigued me that he would take something that was so so simple and not even thought to be made into anything other than to burn. You know, and he took this. Gerald Hawks used to work at University of Maryland in Baltimore, Maryland, and he was the youngest of 3 sons. And he actually got robbed coming home one night from shock trauma where he worked at, and beaten into a coma. And during his recovery, he never fully recovered. So this was sort of his outlet, you know, to sort of calm his mind, you know, because he began drinking and using drugs, and this was just a way to sort of, you know, calm himself and keep himself at peace. And I love the fact that something so magnificent came out of such a horrible situation, you know. I mean, when you think of someone being beaten into a coma, it's like, wow, you know, but this was his outlet. And I love it. The story drew me to it.
Well, and you have a dance ministry too?
Yes,
tell us about that. That's from the heart. Let's get it
that's
the heart
my
now.
outlet. I love dancing for the Lord. He's my living Savior, my true and living God, and I love him. And to dance for him, that's my outlet. And I think that's the connection that I have with Gerald, because his outlet became this, you know, this temperament with him. And to dance gives me an outlet for my Lord, for my daily anger and, you know, any situation I'm going through. Sometimes I just want to tell him that I love him, you know, and I'll dance my way through it. So, you know, I think that's part of the connection that I find with Mr. Gerald Hawks.
And you do this through your church? Do you mentor other people?
Yes, yes. I actually, God has graced me to be the leader of my dance ministry. I do plays, I do dances. It's beautiful. The name of my church is Divine Deliverance Apostolic Faith Church here in Baltimore, Maryland, and we're fairly new. We've been up and running for a year now, officially in the building, and it's just wonderful. We invite everyone to come out and see us, and, you know, just glorify God.
Well,
you know?
Thank you so much. When we get those school children out from California, we know where we're going to send them.
Exactly. We welcome you. Thank you. The Hawks passed away. Miss Rebecca actually took his ashes and spread them out in the garden. He was one of the first people to cross the threshold of this building when she opened it. Her and Gerald Hawks are very close. And she always makes the jokes, and she says that everyone gets a piece of Gerald, because when she spread his ashes, it was windy that day. And I think that's just so hilarious.
I'm going to look at some paintings by Gretchen Feldman. She had a feeling for cancer that we're going to take a closer look at. At her funeral, she asked this message from Woody Allen to be read. In my next life, I want to live life backwards. You start out dead, get that out of the way. Then you wake up in an old people's home feeling better every day. You get kicked out for being too healthy, go collect your pension, and then when you want to start work, you get a gold watch and a party on your first day. You work for 40 years until you're young enough to enjoy your retirement. You party, drink alcohol, are generally promiscuous. Then you're ready for high school. You then go to primary school, you become a kid, you play, you have no responsibilities, you become a baby until you're born. And then you spend your last 9 months floating in luxurious spa-like conditions with central heating and room service on tap, larger quarters every day, and then voila, you finish off as an orgasm. Bad News was Gretchen's first cancer painting post-diagnosis. She read all that she could about research and scanned the internet for images of cancer cells. At the same time, she became fascinated with the massive sudden deaths of bees and bats worldwide. As a painter, Gretchen needed to better know her powerful enemy. Her artwork and reading was much like that of a scientist and inventor, Jonas Salk, who said, "I pictured myself as a virus or cancer cell and tried to sense what it would be like." Right. Well, gosh, tell me about what we've got here.
Okay, this is an incredible display because, well, first of all, that up there is Icarus in mythology, you know, the guy who tried to fly to this. He tried to get out of prison by putting on wings with wax, and of course, the wax melted when he got too close to the sun. So the wings fell off and he fell to his death. That wonderful statue was done by a British artist named Andrew Logan. Magnificent piece of sculpture, and the wings are made out of thousands of pieces of mirror and stained glass. And look, he's mounted here in such a way that he's rotating. And it's beautiful to watch him as he rotates. He changes shape. And not only does he rotate, he also goes up and down. Right now he's up towards the top, and then you'll hear a click, and then he'll start his trip down. And the trip either way takes about 20 minutes. He'll come down to about 8 feet above the main floor, and that is and then he'll go back up again. And that is symbolic of Icarus flying up and falling down. Now, when the museum acquired that, they asked me and a friend of mine, artist friend of mine, if we would make a symbolic ocean into which he would fall and drown. So that's this. And this is Oceanus, the symbolic ocean. It's made completely out of mirrors, thousands of pieces of mirror. I mean, to give you some idea, I really mean thousands. For example, the edge here along the front and the back and the side has more than 6,000 individually cut pieces of mirror in it. And it's meant to suggest the swirling waves and the sea foam and all that of a turbulent ocean. And the best way to see this really is from up high, and look down on it. Then you can see the design better. Then they also asked us to make a sun for him to fly to, so we made all the way up there, all the way at the top. That's the sun. And so you have this incredible exhibit with Icarus, the sun that was his doom because he flew too close to it, and the ocean where he fell and drowned. It's a wonderful exhibit. People should come and see it. Actually, the best way to do that would be from the third floor, then you can really get a closer picture. You do have a sense of humor. Oh yes. Well, you're going to need it. I mean, if you can imagine a complete exhibit about farting. I did say farting. Flatulence, you say. And here it is. I know this wasn't here when you were here last time. It went up September of a year ago, this past September. And here it is. Now, there's a story behind this, and I'll tell you the full story. Basically, back in the 1940s, there were some guys at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation who made a very funny joke radio program called the Decrapitation Competition. And it was really a farting competition, presented as if it were a sports event. It was very funny. There were two people in it, two contestants. One was Paul Boomer and one was Lord Windersmere. And anyway, described this farting competition, which is held every year in Europe. And in it, men and some women would want to be recognized for their expertise in the sport of flatulence. So they would all train for about a week beforehand, eating baked beans and cabbage and stuff like that. Then they would come to this arena where there's a big crowd sold out, and they would each have an opportunity to display their virtuosity in flatulence. And they used this. This is called the farting post, and it is an aid to the sport of flatulence. Each contestant would go up to it, put their hands on top, bend over, and then each one would have 60 seconds to perform their repertory of flatulence. And qualified judges, highly trained judges, would listen to them and give a point value to each one. For example, a little, that's 1 point. But a triple flutter blast, that'd be 20 points. At any rate, I asked Rebecca Hoffberg, the founder of this incredible museum, if I could make an exhibit about it, and instantly she said yes, because she knew the history. Flatulence has been the subject of humor for centuries. The Japanese and the Chinese have all sorts of scrolls devoted to it, a lot of artwork devoted to it. And more recently, Shakespeare wrote about it. It's in many of his plays. Benjamin Franklin wrote about it. The Canterbury Tales, if you take out the farts, you have blank pages. And then Mark Twain wrote about it. And now today there are hundreds of children's books about it. There they are. And then there are also cookbooks about it. Recipes for things that encourage flatulence. And I work in mirror art. So I came up with a weird idea. What does flatulence look like? So I made some mirror art images of flatulence. And here's a whole bunch of them. And if you were to take the time and look at them, for example, this one, if you look at it, that's a baked bean grenade. And it has real baked beans in it. And here is a nun's fart that has a halo. And there are all sorts of things. Some of these were inspired by artists. For example, here's a Jackson Pollock, a confused fart. But the main thing here is this, which is the farting post that has miraculously stored all of the winning contest entries. And if you'd like to hear one, all you do is push the button. And every time you push it, there will be a different one. And that's it. Now, there is a 7-minute video about this on YouTube. And if you go to YouTube and type in visionary farts, it'll take you to it. The 7-minute video, well, just watch it full screen with the volume up, and you'll have a lot of fun. The trip takes about 20 minutes, and you come down to about 8 feet above the main floor. And then you'll hear another click, and then you'll go up again. And that is symbolic of Icarus lying up and falling down. When you come to cover that, we have me and artist friend Rick Ames.
Well, it's time for us to say goodbye to the Visionary Art Museum. Children going to Washington, D.C., it's time for you to get up and get moving. This powered bike can be part of the kinetic sculpture race, so it's time for everyone to get out there and get moving.
Because there's a camera.